Hey, how's it going?
Obviously, it's the other side of the ball for you, but obviously, I'm sure you've watched Aaron Rodgers over the years, and he's obviously one of the best ever. What is it, from your opinion, as a guy who obviously deals with quarterbacks, that what is the thing that it puts him kind of over the top?
Well, I was, I guess, unfortunate to play against him for 3 years in the division when we played, when I coached at Minnesota. And, he can always make a play. He can always keep it alive. I mean, his ability to throw the ball with really not a lot of space, and his body doesn't have to be pointing in that direction. He can generate a lot of power, just kind of real twitchy, up top. And, he sees it well. He gives these guys a chance, and he's got uncanny accuracy, and obviously a lot of confidence, rightfully so, in his ability. So he makes a lot of tough throws in a lot of tough situations. And, that's the biggest thing with him, is just that the play's never dead. He can always, make plays late in the down really better than many guys have ever played.
In terms of your quarterback, people have noted it was a little more of a muted performance from Taylor, in the sense of he didn't rush, run out of the pocket as much, and things like that. As you've kind of looked at it, how much was that sort of something that the Chiefs are doing, or is it something that maybe he was pulling back on that you guys have or would like to see him get back at a little bit more?
Yeah, no, I don't have any issue with him running. I mean, those opportunities, they come. We're not really calling a lot of runs for him. It's more of a, his runs really come on scrambles. And, they did a nice job of really just containing with their rushes. I think it's very similar to, what we saw in the Giants game earlier, just kind of the way they rushed him. And, so that just didn't give him the opportunity. We called some nakeds, got him on the edge on a couple things. But as far as just the scrambles and him finding rush lanes and stepping up and taking off, they did a nice job of really kind of taking those away.
Scott, Taylor was saying he thought he was maybe trying to be a little bit too perfect. Do you agree with that? And if so, where did you see that? Or how do you?
Yeah, I mean, I think what he's saying is just, you look back at the game, and sometimes people can have overreactions. And, he threw 2 picks in the Saints game, going back. And so, when you do that, and, it's a close game early, and we kind of had the upper hand, and then he threw a couple picks. And then that weighed heavy on him. So I think, he just overcompensated maybe, and just, was afraid to, make those mistakes. And I just told him, that's not him. That's not him being himself, and he can't play that way. And you can't be afraid to make mistakes, because if you're afraid to make mistakes and you play in the NFL, you're still going to make mistakes, and you're just not going to make any plays in the meantime, And, you just got to go be himself, trust what he sees, and relax, and be the player that he is, not trying to be be perfect, or, do everything perfectly.
It looked like there were some times early in that game, especially where maybe he could have stayed with the guy a little bit longer on the play. Is that how you saw things? Is that part of that, where maybe you don't let the things develop the right?
Yeah, there was a little bit of that, or just eliminating someone early in a read or early in a down, where maybe there was a shot to go there. And then we had some down the field throws early that were very close. That we didn't quite hit on. But yeah, I think that's more what you're saying, where it's just not letting the play really actually play itself out.
Terry's so good, it feels like anytime he's not involved, we'll have to ask you about it. Just the past couple weeks, 4 catches in each game. What have you noticed from defenses, and is it maybe also an influence of Curtis and Logan and guys like that not being there?
No, I mean, yeah, I don't know if it necessarily has to do with Curtis or Logan. I thought, it's a shame, because you put the tape on and, you see Terry, he's getting separation at times, and maybe the ball is just a little bit off, or, Taylor had to scramble maybe, or he can't get the throw off exactly when he wants to. We had I think he still had quite a few targets, and there were some balls that we were close on, and we were trying to give him the ball. And some of those we just didn't quite connect on. There was a couple 9 routes, the third play of the game, and then in the second quarter, into the end zone that were close. They were just, kind of a yard or 2 off. A couple balls that were just a little bit off target. I think that we're going to continue to obviously get Terry more opportunities. Games like this unfortunately happen. It's a shame it happens 2 weeks in a row, but I think Terry's still playing at a high level, and I don't see this continuing.
And I know before the year, last year you talked about how you were more horizontal on offense. You wanted to be more vertical. Do you feel like you've gotten a chance to get more vertical this season?
Yeah, I mean, been some games. I mean, obviously in Atlanta, we had a lot of big plays in Atlanta. We had a few against the Saints, and then, like I said, I think we attempted 5 balls over 20 yards against the Chiefs, and we hit one of them. So, you're going to attempt those balls, but you got to hit them. You got to hit them. And I'm not saying that we missed the throw necessarily. We just didn't connect on the play. And yeah, there's some games that you look back and you think maybe we can be more aggressive. The big thing that happened in this Chiefs game really is, we didn't take advantage of some good opportunities early in the game. We scored 13 points, and we really should have scored more in the first half. And then in the second half, we had the good first drive. They got stalled out. But we had 22 plays in the second half, and that's a lot of that's our fault of not staying on the field. But that's the thing, and I talk to guys all the time about, like, when you do have the upper hand, when it's working in your favor, you got to take full advantage of that, because games shift, and that's where we hurt ourselves on Sunday.
Scott, just curious, what has Ricky Seals-Jones given to this offense, not just in the stead of Logan Thomas not being here, but just in general? What has he provided for this offense that you've seen through the few games he's played as a starter, and just in general?
I think he's done a really nice job of, filling in for Logan, like you said. With his background as a receiver and being a big target, he's doing some nice things in the past game, and then he's really come a long way with the blocking too. But just being our every down Y. Obviously you saw the touchdown that he scored, and then he's made plays over the course of the season just before that. But he plays with good energy. He's in the right spot where he needs to be. For the most part, he's catching the ball that come to him. I mean, there's some detail things that he needs to kind of get fixed, and that way it will maximize his performance. But as far as just, when a guy goes down and someone coming and filling in, I think he's done a nice job.
And then, if I may ask, kind of going back a little bit, what did you guys see from him when you decided to bring him in May? Like, what stood out about him? What did you guys feel like he could bring to the team? And then just his progress moving up from, I think it was third string, second string, to some of the first string stuff.
Yeah, and even lower than that. I mean, he came in as just, kind of, one of the guys that, kind of not fill a spot, but, we liked him. And the thing that we liked about him is, like I was saying, the pass game threat. And then, hey, if we can develop this guy into a blocker, then he can be a complete tight end, and he's really working his way towards that. But just that kind of target that can run like that, those guys are hard to find.
Ricky's a good story, but he's on the field because of injuries. There's a lot of injuries starting to stack up on your offense. How does that impact play calling, game planning? Do you have to make changes based on the personnel? Yeah,
I mean, unfortunately, as we've learned over the last couple of years, and as just through my career, injuries are part of the game. They're part of this game. In that Atlanta game, I think we talked about it, we joked about it. It was a lot cheerier mood then in the press conference where, it all kind of happened really fast, and then the guys that we lost in those games, they've been out a few weeks, and it creates opportunities for the guys behind them to step up. The biggest thing is, like, for me or for our offensive staff during the week, just kind of finding out, okay, who are we going to have, and then, okay, we think we might have this guy by Sunday. When's he going to be able to practice? So I'm not going to say it limits. I mean, we still try to do everything we can to get our guys in the best position, but it limits some practice reps. And then, and then when the guys get ready towards the end of the week, you just kind of, you get an idea of, and then certain plays, they might come out of the game plan because, hey, we thought we were going to potentially get a guy back, but we're not going to get him this week. So, something that someone might do well, you take it out. And it's all part of it. It's all part of the week in, week out deal of, this league. And unfortunately for us, we got a bunch of injuries in in a short period of time.
With Gibson specifically, who's such a big part for you, with an injury, the stress fracture that doesn't seem to be fixable without resting, how do you approach that? Is that a pitch count thing? Is that how he feels during the game?
Yeah, it's more of a weekly management thing, with him, as far as just, hey, let's balance what he needs to do during the week, and then he's got some other issues as well, but from just being banged up from just playing running back, and taking hits, but the that more thing is just management during the week. But the other thing, like with Antonio, he's a young player, so he's missing out on practice reps too, which, just hurts him going forward for the entire season. But, it's just the thing with Antonio, it's not so much pitch count. I think once he's ready to go Sunday, he can play. And, we gave him quite a few carries in the past few weeks. But just getting him to Sunday and making sure that he's taking care of his body during the week is the biggest obstacle.
When Taylor was in here, he talked about the Monday meeting you guys had and how you really felt freed after that. You've known him forever, obviously. How has things like that, how does that improve the relationship between you guys, and how have you found him to kind of take that critique that you guys have to offer?
Yeah, I think Taylor, like you said, we got a good relationship, and he knows me well enough to know that when I talk to him, I'm just speaking honestly to him, and it's not like I'm picking on him or anything, or even when I'm, when it's positive and I'm hyping him up. I'm just telling him the truth as I see it, and with him, and the message to him that I gave to him was just, we want you to be yourself, we just want you to be yourself and be yourself on the field and not worry about, doing everything perfectly, kind of like as I said earlier. And I think he just, took that to heart. I mean, obviously he came in and talked about it, but just made him feel like, hey, I don't have to be, because I don't have to be something I'm not, because it is like, you come in, you play a game, you play 2 games, that's one thing, but the stress of, being the guy week in and week out, that can weigh on you. And, I'm just trying to let him know that, he doesn't have to try to do more than just be the player that he is, and then that's going to be good enough for us.
When there are like multiple coaching points, like obviously the coaching points change from week to week, but like for one week instance it was, all right, like check down the ball more, just try to be more careful. And this week it seems to be a little bit of like use your legs, get out there. When there are multiple messages like that, like how do you guys as coaches make sure that the player isn't confused or anything like that? What have you seen from him?
Yeah, I don't think, like, I'm thinking, try the best way to say this. Taylor doesn't necessarily get his coaching points from the things he reads, you know what I mean? He gets them directly from us. So for us, like, in my opinion, there hasn't been multiple coaching points. Like, a lot of times, the overreaction to what I was saying is just a feeling that he had. Like, he understands when he throws an interception, and he can be his toughest critic, and, that's not a good feeling. So, he's just trying to pull back on it. And the things that we've talked to him about is, and what we really do is just evaluate each individual play and then coach decision-making based off of what you should do on these plays. The things that his mistakes and what we talked about where you said, like, check the ball down, those things have happened late in the down. You know what I mean? Where, okay, I've held the ball, I've gone through my read, and then I try to force a ball where, that's not a point of just, hey, I'm going through my progression and the ball comes out when it's supposed to. So those are just those are different things. And that's what I kind of stress to him. Like, he's a good decision maker. He sees things well and he makes good decisions on time. And then his issues have been like not letting a play die, when the big mistakes have happened. Just like, hey, they covered it, or you missed the throw when you were supposed to. You can't throw it now. It's too late. You know what I mean? Now it's trying to find the check down or take off and scramble. So that's really what the message has been all along. I do understand where you're coming from, where it's like, oh, don't throw an interception. Okay, well, oh, no, throw it to him now. You know what I mean? And I get the back and forth, but that's not really how it's been presented. And obviously, like, playing quarterback in the NFL is tough, so, there's going to be some issues, that come up along, and you just keep coaching through it, and the player keeps working through it.
When you see him overthink like he said he was doing on Sunday, how much, if at all, do you bring that up in real time, maybe over the headset? Like, is that a factor, I guess, at all, like in real time?
Yeah, we, in between series, on the headset, like Kenny, talking to him, it'll just be, the biggest message is just like, trust what you see and pull the trigger, and that's just kind of what you say. You don't want to, like, saying too much a lot of times when someone's overthinking is obviously not a great recipe, so you just try to make it simple for them. Or like as a play caller, sometimes I try to give them familiar concepts, something that you still want to match it up against what's good against the defense, obviously, but things that, he's got more background with or stuff that you've seen him be successful on before, those are things that you try to do. And maybe, some stuff that we did like early in the second half with some of the nakeds, where you get them on the move a little bit and try to do some things like that. There's different things you try to do, but the communication part of it is just like, hey, don't make it more than it is. Just see, trust your eyes and go through it.
Covering a guy like Devontae Adams, I mean, what kind of challenges does that present to your defense?
Really gifted receiver. He and Rodgers are on the same page. You see the way they work. He's targeted a lot, and it'll be a big challenge for us. Yeah, I mean, he's one of the elite players in the league, and you see him every week. I mean, people, different. They come in different shapes and sizes and different names, but the best of the best, and he's really gifted.
What makes him so different from other receivers? What sets him on that level?
Well, I mean, when you're talking about great receiver play, a guy that can separate, a guy that can catch. He runs all the routes, and very reliable. He's got super hands and knows how to get open.
What have you seen from Landon as he's transitioned more to linebacker?
I didn't make any kind of declaration. I see our defense is working hard right now to get ready for the Packers.
What have you seen from him maybe in the last couple of weeks? Because Ron said that's something that's, he's switching to a new position. He wants these run fits. What have you seen from him, I guess, in that regard?
I would let Coach Rivera speak to that if he chooses to do so. Like I said, we're preparing our football team to go out and play their football team, and using our guys. And I don't like to get into how we're deploying people, what we're asking them to do. So I'd prefer to stay away from that.
It does seem like Landon is he's very effective at the attack, the line of scrimmage. What is it about his game that suits that role?
Again, I'm not up here to talk about specific players. You guys want to get into that? That's something. If Coach opened that up and talked about that, he can talk further. I'm sure you'll be able to visit with him tomorrow.
Jack, with regards to Jamin Davis, obviously played more last week and seemed like he took a step in the right direction. When he starts to get going and you see what he can do, how does that possibly change some of the pieces around you? Like, does his influence allow you to maybe get into different schemes or have some different guys on the field that maybe you weren't able to do because you didn't have a guy like what he can do out on the field?
Yeah, I think for us, as a group, Jamin, Landon, they're all part of it. We're just working to play faster, play with more confidence, more certainty, and I think he's shown signs. I think both those guys that I'm getting asked about today, I think both those guys have shown signs of improving in that area.
Going back to the Packers quickly, with Devontae and Aaron Rodgers, they obviously on the same page, all that. That back shoulder pass that he throws to him, how hard is that to defend, and why is that such a hard pass to defend?
It's one of the hardest in football, so you're fighting hard to stay on top, and then the really gifted players, quarterbacks and wideouts, get that timing down of being able to, not let you be right. So I was with Peyton Manning in Denver, and I watched the work that he put in on the sideline with Thomas, Demarius, and those guys. It was just, regardless of how you played it, they were coming up with their catch. And it's the same kind of connection, and it makes it very difficult.
Last week with, I don't know if it's just because of who they're playing with, it's Tyreek or whatever, maybe more missed tackles than I'm guessing you would have liked on the outside. How do you work on that in a situation where you guys aren't able to really have any contact drills in practice? And were you disappointed by that?
I think the biggest thing is it wasn't really the number as much as it was in some really critical moments, and where we're off the field on third down. So you work at it with leverage, and you work at it with footwork and all the things that you can do. What you're not going to do is actually tackle in season to the ground. In fact, you don't do it in camp either. So the time you do it live is in games. But I think there are two things that help. Your leverage, and then also the swarming of people around you and the confidence that they're coming. And I think when you start playing faster like that and you're able to take your shot and know that you have people behind you, I think that creates a more confident tackler.
Last one for me, with William Jackson, how much is he still adapting to how to play within the system or the scheme or whatever? How much is he in just what he's being asked to do?
Well, again, I hate to address specific players. I would just say that he is working hard. I think he's growing in our system, and I think as we go through the year, I think he'll be better and better. Okay.
Jack, and just since Benjamin St. Juste has come back, it seems that opposing teams are not attacking.
I'm not
him.
hearing you very well. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. You can take that off. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. What I was going to say is that since Benjamin St. Juste came back from the concussion, it seems that opposing offenses aren't necessarily attacking him as much, even though he's a rookie. And I think Kansas City only targeted him once versus, say, Kendall Fuller and some of your other veteran players. What do you make of some of what the offenses and quarterbacks are doing in terms of attacking your more veteran leadership versus your rookie player?
And the question is, what do I make of it? What do you
make? What does it say that opposing offenses are attacking, say, your more veteran players, somebody that are a little bit more seasoned versus, say, a rookie, which you typically see a lot more quarterbacks and offenses do? Or you can correct me if I'm wrong, but just what does that say, I suppose?
You can draw your own conclusions. I mean, that's open for anybody's individual interpretation. I mean, the way I look at it, we're getting our guys prepared to go out and compete. I think he's done a nice job. I think our group, as we go through the year, will be better and better. And we've had some really good contested catches. And to me, compete, use great technique, and go to the next play.
Forced a lot of turnovers in the first half of the game last week. How do you think you kind of build on that performance and make sure it's a 4-quarter thing versus a 2-quarter thing?
I like what I saw in the first half. In fact, all the way up to about 5 minutes in the third quarter. So to that point, we were opportunistic. We were getting off the field on third down. We were forcing turnovers, and we held a really good offense to 10 points. That's the version we want to be and play to. So, so the first half was much better than the second.
I want to ask about Aaron Jones as well. Obviously, the Packers are balanced because of their ability to pass and run. What challenges does Aaron Jones present, and how do you kind of game plan for him?
He does present challenges. I think he's a dynamic runner, a slasher, really runs behind his pads, finds the hole. I think exceptional vision. I think he's a really talented back. I think he's one of the top backs in the league. So, that's kind of the 1-2 punch that they present, with him running the ball in their RPOs, and then Adams is spectacular.
And how do you kind of game plan for a team that's so balanced where they could do one or the other? Kind of how do you prepare for that in that way?
That's what we'll find out. We're putting a plan together. Obviously, a lot of challenges, and that's what we're working really hard to do. Yeah, I'm okay. Go ahead.
You like the first half. Your defense has now put 5 turnovers on the board the last 2 games. How do you get that? How do you carry that over from one half to the second half? What were the things that you
just keep working. I mean, it's all about working. It's like, it's what we do. We're competitors. We prepare, and we go compete. And it doesn't matter if your feelings get hurt, if things don't go the way you want. To me, if you only can bring it and be accountable and when things are good, you're really a front runner. And so I pride myself on being consistent and continuing to be a great teacher and a great worker and being at my best for our guys every day. And that's all I ask them to do. And as we do that, we have a chance to fight our way out of this and play a lot better, help our football team win. And so that's what it's all about. So often in our world, people want to throw a fit, have a tantrum. That's not going to solve anything. It's not going to make us better.